What's up, it's Kate here from Marvelous Videos. Today we look at the top 10 horror movies from Alter. Who said short stories are less important? Have you forgotten the masterpieces from the legendary Alfred Hitchcock? The short films have produced their world of followers, where writers and directors are free to experiment without the fear of box office results. According to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, a short film is an original motion picture that has a running time of 40 minutes or less, including all credits.
Good night.
Mainstream film fare has always dominated the world of cinemas, but the growing popularity of short films has not gone unnoticed alongside feature films. Social media is just the right platform for experimenting with short stories, and if anyone is genuinely interested in different forms of horror content, then Alter is the latest destination. Alter has proven itself to be an ever-expanding medium for the experiments of the most daring storytellers of the world. We are the home, community, and launching pad for our filmmakers. Alter has grown to be so sought after that within 4.5 years of its launch, it has gained 2.04 million subscribers. The channel displays the horror content from some of the most innovative minds of the horror genre. Apart from short stories, the channel will also be a source of movies, series, and many more. So what are we waiting for? Let's take a look at the top 10 horror films from Alter that will alter your life forever. There will be spoilers ahead. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. The Smiling Man. Smile at him if you see him, or else. Don't go by the title. The Smiling Man would surely make you cry out in terror. This short film is written, directed, and edited by AJ Briones, and is without any dialogue. But these 7 minutes of runtime will be one of the most terrifying and disturbing sessions of your life. A little girl watches and enjoys the Mickey Mouse cartoon show on the TV, when she suddenly sees a shadow. She comes outside her room following the shadow, only to find a red heart-shaped balloon waiting for her. Hey, you're not the only one to think that Pennywise is around the corner. But then she sees another blue balloon followed by a black one. All of the balloons are tied to a packet containing dismantled body parts of dolls. Before the girl picked up the blue balloon, we got a glimpse of a devilish hand keeping the balloon and luring the little girl. The girl reaches the kitchen following the balloons and finally meets the spooky, menacing, devilish Smiling Man who smiles at the girl, and the girl simply stares back at him indifferently. After failing to scare the girl at the first impression, the Smiling Man started painting blood on his face from a pool of blood on the floor, pointing towards the dead body of the girl's mother. This time, the girl gets in a state of shock, which makes the Smiling Man very happy as he points his finger towards the girl and says, "Shh." The performance of Strange Dave as the Smiling Man is incredible, well supported by Abby Challey as the girl. The audience has commented that this short film had terrified them more than any feature film. Briones had bagged as many as 16 awards for the Smiling Man, which definitely made him smile. Don't Let It In. Stay away from the Skinwalker. As the name suggests, Don't Let It In is a typical horror thriller movie that keeps the audience at the edge of their seat. The film, released in 2020, is written and directed by Jessica Henwick, starring Taylor Kinnaquan as Elena, Beau Blanchard as Tristan, and Susan Allen as the terrifying Skinwalker. The spooky environment sets in from the very first scene. Elena and Christine, the two sisters, listen to the bedtime story of the shapeshifter creature whose name cannot be uttered. This creature is so evil that if its name is pronounced, it comes to the person and hunts them down like a deer, choosing its victim. Their father directed their attention towards a knife that was gifted to their grandfather. Now, the knife was dipped in white ash to protect their family from evil spirits. Next, we find that Elena and her husband are getting separated, and a devastated Elena is returning home after acquiring her belongings from Tristan. As she drives home, she receives a call from Christine, stating that their father has been acting weird lately. Suddenly, Elena encounters a creepy creature on the road, but then it vanishes. Considering it to be a hallucination, Elena continues driving and finally reached home. While taking a shower, she hears some noise and then she hears her father's voice outside the door. She opens the door, but suddenly there's no one to be seen. She tries to call Tristan, who informs her that Christine has been trying to call her, as her father had died in an accident and Christine was in the hospital with him. Terrified, Elena grabs her grandfather's knife and hides under the bed, as we see the Skinwalker entering the house and looking for her. As soon as the monster attacks her, Elena thrusts the knife forward as the film ends. The film is flooded with comments of appreciation, as the nail-biting, nerve-wracking atmosphere is fascinating and thrilling. Please don't let it in go unwatched, and let it be in your watch list as soon as possible. Bakemono. Never trust a bakemono. The film started with the information that the day before spring is called Setsubun in Japanese culture. There is a tradition of throwing soybeans on this day to summon good luck and cast away evil spirits. We are then introduced to the Japanese family at the dinner table, where the parents Okasan and Ota-san have almost completed dinner, but their daughter Ayumi refuses to finish dinner, saying she's not hungry. The parents insist that they finish their dinner and proceed with the tradition of Setsubun. Ayumi shows reluctance in their ceremony, arguing with her mother about the existence of evil spirits, as she's never encountered any. Okasan tries to convince Ayumi about the different evil spirits like Oni, Abake, and Bakemono. She stated that Bakemono could never be trusted, and they'll have any leftover food as they don't have caring parents providing them with delicious meals. Instead of getting scared, on the contrary, Ayumi shouted to invite the Bakemono to eat her leftovers and stay with them. Late at night, Ayumi places food on the floor for Bakemono, but to her surprise, whatever food she keeps gets instantly over. Then, she finally meets the evil spirit who apparently looked innocent but kept asking for more and more food. When Ayumi can't provide anymore, the Bakemono shows her actual demonic image. The following day, Okasan found Ayumi asking for breakfast. She is delighted to see Ayumi hungry and in an excellent mood. But her happiness is short-lived as she discovers her beloved daughter has been transformed into a bakemono. As she kept asking for more food, Okasan threw a handful of soybeans towards the monster. Oh no, along with the bakemono, Ayumi disappeared too. This 2019 short film is written and directed by Jorge Lucas and Samir Takamatsu. We have Claudia Fabella as Ayumi, Shio Muramatsu as Okasan, and Dai Suzuki as Ota-san in the lead roles. It was really sweet for Ayumi to invite Bakemono, but I think it's sweeter to listen to your parents. Inferno. Run from the SKULLFACE. A distressed, petrified woman awakens from a horrifying nightmare. Or, we wish this would have been a nightmare. A glance around her, we see the devastated room. The creaking sound of the floor, the broken glass, the bloodstains, the toppled lampshade, which are all witnesses of life-threatening danger that the woman is facing. The light is flickering and it goes out. The darkness in the room is pitch black. Somehow, she manages to grab the lighter and turn on the lamp. Again, she hears the creaking sound of the door opening. She manages to capture the gun and point towards the door, but nothing appears. Slowly and steadily, she walks out of the room, aiming the gun towards the door with her trembling hand. With tremendous courage, she goes out of the room as we see that she's in a motel room and a car is parked at a distance. She tried checking the other rooms for any potential danger, but the rooms were vacant. But as she checked one more room, she could see a shadowy figure passing at a distance. As she frantically runs and gets into the car, we're relieved that this is her chance to escape. She starts the car, but her expression changes. The rolling of the engine stops and the danger is right behind her. Suddenly, two monstrous hands grab her throat as she struggles to breathe. She manages to fire a shot and get out of the monster's clutches, escaping back to her room. This time, she steps on the glass and is badly injured, as she crashes on the floor and the light goes out. With a lighter strike, she sees the menacing SKULLFACE monster staring at her right in front of her face. Written and directed by Bishal Dutta, this short film is a non-stop rollercoaster of terror. The cinematography, music, and top-notch performance of Taylor Cloyd gave us spine chills from the beginning right till the end. Milk teeth? Don't give your tooth to the sink monster. The 2020 film Milk Teeth by Philippe Vargas gives a massive twist to the classic tooth fairy and creates the terrifying sink monster. Living in an orphanage, Thomas was seen flossing his teeth to such an extent that one of his teeth fell out, but the tooth went down the drain of the sink as he cried in despair. Suddenly, someone called out his name. Thomas realized a voice coming from the sink, and he requested it to return his tooth, which would fetch him 25 cents. The sink monster told him that it could return his tooth or keep it safely, and provide him another tooth that would fetch him more money. The boy agreed and received a tooth from the monster, which, on keeping below the pillow, indeed fetched him quite a lot of money the following day. A couple arrived at the orphanage the next day, and in spite of the tremendous effort, Thomas was not chosen for adoption. Consequently, Thomas went to the local shop to buy a hairbrush to improve his looks, when some senior boys started bullying him. But the sink monster convinced them to give their tooth in exchange for money, to buy things for themselves that they never dreamt of. Soon we find lots of boys donating their teeth to avail money in exchange. At last, a couple came and instantly liked Thomas. But the moment he opened his mouth, it was a terrible sight, as his mouth was completely toothless. That night, the sink monster wreaked havoc in the orphanage. But when Thomas finally confronted the monster face to face, showing his toothless mouth, the sink monster revealed its mouth, showing the set of teeth received from the children. It took out one tooth from its mouth and gifted it to Thomas. The film is outstanding, touching the chords of sympathy and the amazing friendship between human and monster, with the chilling thrill of a horrifying monster. Cookie. Stop taking cookies from the cookie. A young girl, Bree, loved watching horror movies and ate lots of cookies while lying to her mother that she only ate one. Her mother replaced the teddy bear cookie jar with Cookie's monster face cookie jar to stop her from eating lots of cookies. But that didn't stop the girl. But then something weird happened. She saw the monster face of Cookie in an old horror film and she was freaked out. She tried to find her mother, but she was nowhere to be found. When she went to her mother's room, she found her mother hiding under a red blanket. But when she pulled the blanket, there was no one there. As Bree screamed in terror, we saw Cookie in monster form grabbing her from behind. Next, we see the girl's mother shaking her up, asking her to wake up, as Bree, lying on the sofa, continues screaming. The mother puts her daughter in bed alone and goes off to sleep after the ordeal, but the girl didn't sleep. She got out of bed, took Cookie out on the road in a bag, and kept on smashing it. She returned home, happy to see the empty table without Cookie. The next day, as the girl's mother returns from work, she sees the babysitter waiting impatiently, ready to leave and quite unwilling to come back the next day. The girl seems to be busy painting. When the camera closes in, we find that the girl has painted and converted all available dolls to Cookie's face. She didn't even spare her mother's face in the photo. This seemed a little bizarre for her mother, but she didn't pay much attention as usual. When the girl sleeps under the blanket, she smiles and acknowledges someone as we see Cookie lying beside her under the same blanket. The story is creepy, well filmed, and the acting of Ava Jameson as Bree and Alana Elmer as the mother. It's heard that writer-director Justin Harding got the inspiration for the story from a scary cookie jar, which he found in an antique shop in Canada. Dark water, when darkness takes over. For horror fans, the conversion of a human into a monster has become a pretty casual fact. But in this short film, Dark Water, by Erin Coates and Anna Nazari, we must appreciate the filmmaker's hard work using practical effects and not CGI. The film commenced with Gemini, who is seen packing stuff from her mother's house while she hugs and smells her late mother's clothes, devastated from her death from multiple sclerosis. She sleeps on the couch, awakened by her brother Eric, who insisted that Gemini pack her stuff quickly so that they can sell the house off. He was intrigued by a strange box that Gemini had retrieved from their mom's wardrobe, but Gemini refused to show it to him, saying that his name was not written on it. Soon, Gemini started encountering bizarre aquatic creatures in her room while water started flooding. Suddenly, she had a strange revelation. When she opened the box, she found an ultrasound report and a greetings card for her mother, proving the pregnancy with a twin. But she confirmed with her brother, who said she never had a twin. She vomited a strange thing while everything surrounding her started becoming cocooned in a slimy secretion. The following day, after waking up, she found weird rashes besides her abdomen, which were hurting a lot. Soon, she found a pool of dark water where she swam and discovered strange species. Another creature burst out from her swollen abdomen and disappeared inside an aquatic creature. When her brother came, we saw Gemini totally entrapped amidst the creatures under the dark water. This kind of film is left for viewers' interpretations. The director himself had commented that he supported the fetus in fetu aspect and the concept of matrilineal trauma. Actress Alexandra Nell had to take special training for holding her breath underwater. Stucco, stuck in the hole. Next on the list, we have the 2019 film Stucco, written and directed by Janina Gavankar and Russo Schelling, while Janina also starred as the main character of an agoraphobic woman. Before you Google to find out the meaning of agoraphobia, let us help you out. Agoraphobia is the fear of places and situations that might cause panic, helplessness, or embarrassment. The story follows the agoraphobic woman Janina, who is struggling with her phobia and personal relation, in spite of her psychotherapy sessions and meditation lessons. We found her in a state of panic when her partner called, causing her to drop her food. After ordering some food online, she went to hang a piece of art. But as soon as she struck the nail in the wall, a quite big hole was formed, hinting it to be a hollow wall with open space behind it. The doorbell rang, turning Janina agoraphobic once again, as she even struggled to get food from her doorstep. When she slept at night, the hole in the wall seemed to haunt her and became her obsession from that day onwards, tormenting her dreams every single night. One night, she couldn't bear it any longer and broke the wall, which took her to another dark world, where she saw a throne made up of blood-soaked limbs and inviting her to sit on it. But after she sat on the bizarre throne, the hands started attacking her. Somehow, she managed to free herself and started destroying the throne with a huge hammer. In the next shot, we find Janina standing out in the open daylight as she came out of her hallucinations and found herself hitting her car with the hammer. Stucco displays a brilliant piece of direction and acting by Janina, perfectly expressing her phobia. The incredible interpretations of her anxiety, helplessness, and hands thrown represents the clutches of agoraphobia that she wants to break free from. The moment of gaining her freedom was priceless.
Outside, it's just a doll.
The Dollmaker, it's not just dolls that he makes. The 2017 short film The Dollmaker, written by Matthias and directed by Al Lower, takes us to the classic conflict between the brain and the heart. A young couple, Rick and Jenna, are heartbroken and devastated when they lose their only son, Tim. They lost the battle between the head and the heart and opted for the most twisted option of an alternate reality. They visited the Dollmaker, who promised to bring back their child to their own world of reality. The Dollmaker required an unwashed worn cloth, a lock of hair, a valuable possession of the deceased person, and a lot of money. And he opens a box with the doll inside. As Jenny slowly approaches the doll, Rick warns her again before accepting the doll. Actually, a stupidly overpriced doll is what Rick thinks it is. But a mother's heart won't listen. As soon as she lifted the doll, it was her Tim, and she was overwhelmed with joy as she hugged him tightly. But the Dollmaker warned them that as long as they are inside the house, the doll remains as Tim. But he is just another doll outside the house. The Dollmaker also gave the couple an hourglass and warned them to keep Tim back in the box after an hour. Otherwise, it's going to be a disaster. After some time, we find Rick is fed up and frustrated as Jenny sits with the doll the entire day. He tries to counsel her, but she seems to be lost in her whole world. A desperate Rick pulls Jenny and drags her out of the house, and what do we see? Jenny is also a doll. This was a magnificent way to highlight a dark and twisted psychological horror. The film received more than 23 million views, as the director personally thanked the viewers for making this film such a hit. Frostbite, a heartwarming story from Cold Frost. Last but not least, we present you a heartwarming horror film. You heard it right, a genuinely excellent horror movie by Andrew Hunt that touches our hearts. The film follows a young girl who was apparently trying to control a zombie-like creature, and at the same time protecting herself from the monster. Evidently, the girl cared about the creature as she was trying to teach him the difference between real food and a human being, and talking to him casually the way we talk to our nearest and dearest. But the creature stared blankly, as nothing seemed to register in his mind, and occasionally made a grunting noise while he reluctantly followed the young girl across the frozen wasteland. Soon, she was attacked by a similar zombie, and her companion engaged himself in a fierce battle with him, losing his arm in the process. But the significant difficulty occurred when her companion started consuming the other zombie and refused to follow the girl. The desperate girl cut her palm as blood started flowing through her wound. The smell of the blood lured her zombie companion, who again started following her. The girl stopped in front of the house, and when the zombie followed her too, she tricked him and locked him inside the house. As she blew her whistle, we find 2 more zombies appearing from the house as we find a big Christmas tree decorated inside. The girl opened a photo of her family, from which we understand that all of these zombies were her family members, and the girl was trying her best to reunite them for Christmas. There was also a young boy in the photo, which means that the young girl will probably now go look for her brother. So we told you the film will touch your heart. What could be more important than a family get-together in the festive season? So what that they've become zombies? Family is family. We hope you enjoyed this list of short films as much as you enjoyed the festive season. We wish you all a Merry Christmas and a marvellous New Year ahead. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks!